I'm Dave Johnson. I'm so excited to have my friends and co-business partners on the call with me. And since you're right there, I can see you, Mike. Why don't you kick this off? We just came to an event, and we've been to a lot of events, and wonderful things happen, but I think this was a very special event in terms of the energy, the coming together of, I think, creating a new culture, the new dynamics as far as some very powerful leaders working together in a way that I don't think has ever happened before. And this is going to just be quantum as far as what happens. We talk about things. We talk about Nikken 2.0. We talk about new things. I love what you sent to me, because one of my favorite phrases when I first saw this business is toward a new era. And I believe right now this call is basically inauguration into a whole new era of wellness, a whole new Nikken, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Wow, Dave, I don't often get chills, but I actually just got one. So those of you who've known me all my years, you know that if that's happening to me, that means I'm getting a little tap on the shoulder saying that's the real deal, that's the truth you're hearing. So every time we say new, exciting, whatever, I know that seems overused, overplayed, but honestly, for those of you watching and listening, I would honestly like to tell you that I believe this event was a watershed event. It wasn't for the glitz and glamour of the event at all. It wasn't about that. I think it was simply about the coming together of people from a new place, sort of just a new paradigm, not only in the business model, but just in our understanding of who we are, our relationship to Nikken, and our role in leadership in the future of Nikken, in this new era of Nikken. And we've talked a little bit about it. The trees, the little trees grow a lot taller if they're not in the shadows of the big trees. But some of us got to feel the feeling of that this weekend. And that was what was permeating that time and space. So there was something that was really special and different about what was going on. I had a chance to talk to my new sponsor and get to know him from a different point of view. It's different when you change the glasses and you start talking to somebody and relating to somebody from a different context. And that was my topic, by the way, this weekend, was context, how relevant that is to any message. It makes the message meaningful, the context. And to talk to Ben and have a relationship with him about the idea of him being in the field, and not only that, but actually to hear what he was sharing, which was kind of really exciting. I'm very curious about how everybody else saw this, but I saw something interesting in his presentation that I had not seen before. Forgive me, the phone's ringing. That happens about once every 5 seconds in this house. Anyway, he was talking about how the new model represents the flow of traffic or flow of people into the Nikken experience. And I used to use a triangle. I used to use the 3 R's: retail, recruiting, residual. Retail being customers, recruiting being sponsoring, and residual being leadership, which are the 3 components of our business. And he broke it out that our compensation plan is actually designed that way. We should all know that. The front end of the plan, the retail side, is based on personal volume. The recruiting side is based on your PGV, and then the leadership side is pretty much based on your OV, your leadership volume. So what he was saying is that there's these 3 components to our business, but most of us have operated only on 1 or 2 of those components, and have missed the first one, which is the highest and most profitable one on a transactional basis. So for the newest person to not be taught how to and engage in the most profitable part of their business at that stage of their business, that's where they are at that point in time, and to just jump in a second level and maybe never get to the third one it's actually not a very good strategy in business at all. So there's this fear of swinging the pendulum too far over. It's only retail, retail, retail. What I saw instead was, no, guys, we've had 2 of the engines of our business going, and not bad. What we need to do is turn on the other engine. But that engine is the fuel for the other engines. So it should actually enhance immensely on an exponential scale all the other parts of our business. And so I'm super excited about not only engaging in this model. Today's the first day of our 40% discount. I'm already on it. And I hope everybody else is jumping on this. I feel giddy in a sense because I'm actually excited about that. I saw so many people relieved when we had mentoring. Those of us who were there, Rick, William, I know we had some mentoring that we had to do one-on-one for 30 minutes for 3 hours at a time. So we got to see people in private while the main stage was going on. I got a chance to actually, find out where people were at, what they were thinking, how they were experiencing the Nikken at this moment in time. And all of them, hands down, they're excited. Now, clearly they were there, and that's an indicator that they're interested, but they were genuinely excited, and it was coming from a real natural place because they feel like now they're allowed to do what they've wanted to do. It's really weird, but if you've been somebody who comes into the business and maybe network marketing for the very first time, and then you're asked to do something that you're not very comfortable with because that's what you're supposed to do, and yet there's this natural thing about you that we all naturally want to talk about the products, but you're told you can't do that or you shouldn't do that because it doesn't make any sense, or even worse, you go to an event and then they browbeat you into what are you talking about? That's not a very good way to do the business, etc. Then you feel this resistance, and that's not what's happening now. What they feel like they've been liberated, that now they can actually do what they want to do and feel excited about doing. And I can only translate that into more activity, more contact with other people, more exposure to the products, more exposure to the opportunity. Because clearly, if you're going to be excited about something, you're going to attract people. And people are going to want to know what you're doing. And we've already seen evidence of that. We've seen people coming. My cousin was holding the text in his hand saying, listen, I just got here, and the guy that I've got as a customer in auto is asking me about how to make money at this. So we're seeing the results that this is real, that this is not just us talking about it from the top down saying, hey, this is going to work, this is going to work. We're actually seeing it from the bottom up. It's starting to actually have roots. So this just gets me more excited than I already am. And like I said, to see Ben in the field, because he was sort of wearing two hats at this event. I think this was maybe his last public speak as our president. But to see him wear these two hats, and then we had some private sessions with you, Dave, and it was really, well, it was cathartic, and you were there. And without getting into the details of it, it was really, it was a spiritual moment for me, and for you too, I'm sure, and Ben as well. I think there was a recognition on some level that we had not had before that was so desperately needed, especially for me. Quite honestly, it's not easy always staying positive and staying up regardless of what's happening. And to have the sense that I have support, real genuine support, and not just because I'm somebody's downline, but because somebody cares, what a difference that makes. And I think we all want to feel like we belong. Everybody wants to feel like they belong. And when you have people who genuinely show you or extend an olive branch and say, yeah, you not only belong, but this is your rightful place. This is where we need you. And so I just want to extend that message out to everybody who's listening to this or watching. This is really a new era in Nikken. I promise you that. I think, I believe that you belong. If you've been here this far, if you've lasted this far, you belong. And so now what we need to share with each other is that mutual respect and love and admiration for the fact that we belong together, that this is really an opportunity of a lifetime that could easily be squandered if we get into our heads and get into our ego. But if we get into our hearts and stay pure and true to our hearts, then you're going to know that this is where you belong. And we just need to know, raise that flag. Don't be shy about doing that. And that's what I was having my conversations, and I'm sure I've taken all this time, but my conversations with these individuals was, there's one woman who came to see me. She must be, I don't know, maybe in her 60s, maybe late 60s. And she said, I want to build a Royal Diamond business. And I'm like, wow, that's so amazing. Because not everybody comes up to you and has that kind of an ambition, especially when they're at that time in their life. And I said, you would not have the desire, and she was truthfully coming from her heart. This was not a head thing. Oh, I want to be a Royal Diamond. She was in tears as she was saying this. And I said, you would never have been given the desire if you weren't already equipped with the means to do it, period. So I guess then we need to just get started doing it. And that's what I want to tell you guys, that we were given the desire, but we're not ill-equipped. You can't have the desire and not have the ability to do it, not have the means to do it. And it's okay to ask for help. And I just want to know that I'm here for anyone who reaches out to me. I don't care if you're downline, crossline, upline. I've never really cared too much about that. So I'm here for you and for all of you guys, my friends, my partners, my brothers in this quest to make Nikken the best thing anyone would ever imagine being a part of.
Wow, thank you, Mike. Hey, Dennis, you're a patriarch in this business. Can you make some comments? You were down there, and then maybe turn the flag over to Rick and Carrie, who are part of your Nikken family, and let's hear your thoughts.
Okay, yeah, you can tell I'm the patriarch. I'm the one with the white hair here. But, yeah, that was an awesome event, you know, going down there, and this definitely is customer acquisition week, as we've been talking about. The time to really get that base as huge as you possibly can, and hopefully that discount for auto ship will come following it right up front, you know, right afterwards, so we can implement that. But yeah, things change. You know, I was listening to an audio recording where Art Jonak was interviewing Randy Gage. And Randy Gage written several books, as you probably know, and one of them I read a couple of, like last year, I think it was Risky is the New Safe, and that was an interesting book. I did a presentation on that one time, but his newest book is called Mad Genius, and it's about how things change and really change, and how doing things like they used to be done is a thing of the past, and innovative thinking and everything. And it's a little bit lengthy of an interview, but toward the end of it, the whole thing was about the future of network marketing. And toward the end of that, he talked about companies that are going to be successful for the long term absolutely have to develop a customer culture. He said that'll keep you out of the sights of the regulators, and the fact that customers are good, and it's an awesome thing to have and to grow. And he said that when the ratio of a company becomes 50 customers for every consultant, that company will become a multi-billion-dollar company, solid as a rock. And that was a pretty awesome interview. If you don't, I can send the link out to you, Dave, if you want to pass it on, because it was awesome. But yeah, you know, we've been around, you know, almost as long as you guys, and the Nikken has been awesome. And there's no products in the world that can change people's lives like these do. The event down there in Logan was, like Mike said, a true coming together of all of us on one loyal. I've been signing my emails, your loyal royal ambassador, you know, and that's really true. And I appreciate everybody's loyalty and the growth that we're going to experience together as we all work as one solid team to help everybody experience this new model. You know, the old time of someone coming in and spending $1,500 to become a senior and then have no organization, make not $1, and now they can come in and gather up some of their friends and family as customers, do their 1,500 retail points, become a senior, make, you know, several $100s along with that, plus get the 225 reward points, trade that in for a waterfall if they want to, and retail that for $250 and put that in their pocket. So they'd make, you know, $600-700 as a new senior, and they've got an organization that's going to grow. And of course, the excited customers and the results when they see them are going to ask, how can I make some money at this? And hey, we'll upgrade you, and you can have your own turnkey e-commerce business just like that. So anyway, great future ahead of us, and we're here to help everybody as well. Okay, thank you, Dave. And Carrie, I see your beautiful face on here, the only rose in the bunch of us, midst of us thorns here. So go ahead and share some of your thoughts, if you would.
Well, I was at the expo, and it's probably one of the best events I've been to, just because of the camaraderie of everybody there. And I agree with Mike, you know, it can't be just about the customers. We have to go hand in hand with customers and business builders. But here's something interesting. I got to spend some time with Ben for about an hour. And I know those of you on the call that are leaders are looking at your organizations going, okay, well, where do I work? And this is the old plan, and now what do I do? And I'll tell you, he really sees the future, and he's very wise in what he says. And he said, okay, Carrie, I want you to look at big businesses, and sometimes they have to close down different stores across the country in order to focus on what they need to do in the areas that are growing. And I actually looked at my business and thought the same thing. I thought, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to look at the dead legs that I have, close those businesses down, and then focus on the ones that are growing and create some new ones. And as soon as I got that, when I talked to Ben, he said, you know what, Carrie? He goes, you know, will you make a little bit less money? Yeah. He said, do you need to get a part-time job? Some of us, maybe. Yeah. He said, but in the process of closing down those stores, those legs, as you're rebuilding, as you're bringing customers in and business partners in, you will start to see the growth in your business. And it won't just be a house of cards. And I think previously, a lot of businesses were built on just a house of cards. It didn't actually have the growth, the people in the organization. So I'm excited about that change. I'm excited about the future and where we're going with that. And I can see the outcome into the future and how huge this is going to be for all of us.
Wow. Thank you, Carrie. Hey, Rick Murphy,
Hi.
you were there. What do you think?
I'll tell you what, I'm here with my big buddy who did not like Dad being gone this week, so I'm glad it was for such a good event. You know, we got there, and one of the craziest things is Mike and William and I were talking, and we just had a lot of, let's just get our feelings out. So we jumped in the car and drove out to an old factory, and thank God William had a jam box. And you know, we did some punch dancing, and we felt a lot better afterwards. No, just kidding. You guys, honestly, this is so great. I mean, I actually felt like I was there this weekend, and it was a freeing thing to be around and everybody in the room have my back and be cool and having fun and relaxed and like not make deals with what we're going to do in events later on in the year to know that it's going to be undermined in 3 months. I mean, it's the first time I walked in there, was able to conduct business and feel like it was actually written in stone. And somebody just sent this, and I'm going to read this. I assume this is a safe place to ask questions. As someone who's seen many markets close and my check suffer considerably, had the companies made any statements that give you any confidence in building other markets? Yes. If you got people there and they're making money, they're going to leave the market open. If it's not, it's not. This company went into markets that are going to make money for us. They're opening 140 more markets that we can direct sell in. And when it's strong enough in those markets, they'll pop that open. What this company just did, transitioning a 40-year history to repivot to be functional in the 21st century. When this company started, guys, there wasn't even Facebook. There was no streaming video. There was nothing. We went through a revolution here to completely pioneer a new type of business. And when we look at what the company has done, my wife said last night, it's stunning they were able to pull it off. And it's because of the product line, because of the vision that's timeless and all that good stuff. But the bottom line with the company is you got to quit looking at what you're not getting and start looking at this company just basically solidified your next 40 years. Go downstairs for a minute, all right? I'll be right down. But the bottom line with this, all right, he wants to be a part of it too. The bottom line here is you look at the product line, you look at the company, you look at the pay structure, you look at everything. I've got nothing but confidence. Every statement this company has made validates that we're going to be in markets. Everything they've done has validated it. We sit back and look and say, well, what I had in the past. You got to start looking at what you're going to have in the future. Hey, here's what we got. We got real customers. We got a real pay plan. Our pay plan is not buying 17 boxes of garbage with 3 bonus boxes and pretending like that's a real check. This is a real business found on fundamentals of business, a product that people want with an inelastic demand, with a real profit margin built in for your new people, that you don't start on a credit card from your previous MLM and pretend like you've got an organization. And that is a unicorn in the network marketing industry, what this company is. We actually have something here that's a viable business. With or without building the network, you can make yourself hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month. We have a network that if you build it, because you can do that, it can sustain itself. The bottom line, guys, the way network marketing was built before this, it wasn't sustainable. Your check didn't go away because of Nikken. It went away because the curve takes a network marketing company down after the recruiting bloom. And what this company just did was they changed the business from opening markets and recruiting. Why do you guys think these companies go overseas after 5 years? Because they got to recruit new people. You didn't have a permanent check. You had a blossom. What Nikken just did was they guaranteed that what we build in the future is going to be here. So when I look at the company, I get on Facebook. I don't ask, what's the company doing? What's the company doing? What's the company doing? My job is to put on Facebook stuff so they say what I'm doing. What we need to do as a leadership group is quit talking about the company and start talking about what we're going to do. And that's the bottom line of what we just got freed from this weekend was a bunch of people that were excited about what happened 30 years ago so that we could build something that's going to last 30 years. And that's the bottom line with Nikken right now. Are we going to talk about 20 years ago, or are we going to talk about the next 20 years? So yeah, your check may have took a little hit for the last few months because the model that we had before was the limits of knowledge didn't work as well as the model that we have now. And there's no way to pull a Band-Aid off other than to rip the thing. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you want to cling to minus 5% a year, or do you want to start growing 25% forward and then give it to your grandkids? That's what Nikken just did. I got a team of partners around us. I could care less who's not here right now. As far as I'm concerned, they're dead as a plate of fried chicken to me. I have nothing to say about them. And if they call my group, I'm going to make our group and our message so strong that they're bulletproof because of the offensive nature of our message, not because we have to be defensive. As far as I'm concerned, if someone wants to go, I'll give them an application. Bottom line. So right here is the bottom line. You look at what William's going to do with the curve. You look at what Mike's talking about, what Dennis, what Brody, what Dave. I stood in a room full of people this weekend that I trust, with a company that I love, with a plan that makes absolute solid business sense, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So you guys as leaders, when people call you, instead of saying, yeah, I don't know about what's happening, and yeah, I don't like it either, but I'm staying, maybe be a group of leaders that says, no, I love it. And by the way, Kurt's our CEO, and I got his back. He's my commanding officer. Bottom line, I will never speak anything but positive about people in our family to anybody, especially someone not in Nikken. Here's the way you talk as a leader. I'm absolutely behind the mission. I'm behind the company. I'm behind the people. Kyler, say go Diamond. All right, he's excited about going Diamond too. But I know I'm wrapping up here. But it's time that we all start messaging the future that we want and quit thinking about what happened yesterday and create that future. Because at the end of the day, all Nikken did, they made prices more affordable. What? Oh my gosh, we made big changes. Yeah, it's more affordable, and now you have to click retail. It's super complicated. Guys, there's no other changes. What was that again, Rick? All these, I'm having trouble absorbing this. Click retail, and before it cost more, and now it costs less. Crazy comp. Oh my gosh, how do I absorb that? Let me say it again. It used to cost more, now it costs less, and instead of clicking wholesale, now we click retail. Okay, I got it. Everything else is pretty much the same. It's the same great business. It's just easier to build. Did we build stuff before that was a great big blossom? Yes. Now we're building on concrete as opposed to just building on the limits of knowledge, which was sand. So the bottom line, guys, we actually have a future now. Hey, this dude is going to be your upline someday if you're in our group. I'm going to be able to give it to him. Kyler, say mentor call. All right, this is your upline. And you know what? I'm glad I'm going to give him something other than a pin and a plaque that I earned in 1998. And that's the bottom line. I love this company. I love every one of you. I do anything for you. We are going to have events coming this year in Orlando and San Antonio. They're going to knock your Aunt Connie's socks off. And this is an open challenge. If anybody says anything about my company, the reason we got that stage in San Antonio, we're going to have a dance off. So I'm ready. All right. So I love the company. This weekend, I loved it even more. I cannot tell you guys how proud I am to be a part of this with you. So thank you. God bless. And as you can see, I got business today. I am 100% on. I don't get to be 40% off. So I'll see you all later. I'll listen as best I can.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Brody Craney, thank you for your tireless effort putting together that magnificent event. I really appreciate you, Brody. Also, Brody has actually had volume go up all along, all of these pricings and everything like that. He's an amazing leader. And you were there. Also, hey, congratulations on that amazing piano performance. Boy,
oh,
your
man.
fingers were blazing. What a neat guy. So, Brody Paderewski Craney, can you give your thoughts? And then William Todd, maybe you can just kind of give us the close of your overall thoughts and vision of the future.
Well, I want to say thanks to everybody who was there and supported and provided their magic. This event was not an event of any one person or any one leader or any one speech. It was a combined array of magic in my mind. I had more feedback from this than any other event we have, and it's not because of the venue or anything like that, but it was because of the hearts of the people that were there. I will say I believe it's a little bit of a pattern for the types of events we need to have in the future, because I want to have events where we can bring a whole bunch of guests to, and that they will feel fulfilled having come as guests. And we had a great mix of product education and stories and opportunities for people to strategize for their business. And I would call this a really great therapy session for all. You know, I remember 2 months ago talking to you, Dave, talking to you about one of your early trips to Japan, where a third of the people who went on that trip were people who had already left and gone to another company, but because they'd won the trip, they went on the trip anyway. That Nikken went through a wave in the early 90s, and then they had some challenges, and they went through another wave in the late 90s. And I loved William's talk, and I hope if you don't have slides that you'll draw it out for us, because your first talk and the first breakout session, William, was just phenomenal from my mind. And I'll tell you, as we go through this paradigm shift, it is as simple as Rick said. Click retail, prices are cheaper. But it takes, from my mind, 5 to 7 exposures of hearing the thought that this is real, this is going to work, this is an awesome thing, to make it sink into my heart. And that's a lot of what happened this weekend, even though I was only able to catch snippets because I was running this thing. But these little snippets of this works, this worked, and all the little customers talking about, and people talk about their new experience of grabbing this customer, people that are coming in because of the leaders that have left, having been felt suppressed by some of the things that have happened in the past. People are saying, yeah, I'm in because of this. I'm in because this is out of the way. It's just great. The energy was phenomenal. One of the things that I loved is there was a lot of strategizing for the future. Enough talk of the past. What got us, how fax machines helped us in the past is certainly not going to help us in our future. How the NEAT system helped in the past is not going to help for our future. And there was a lot of great talk about how we're going to proceed in the future. And looking out the front of our vehicle rather than the rear view mirror is what's going to take us to the next rise, the next major era for Nikken. And I love that new culture. The other things that I see happening right now that I've loved, last week there's a Platinum Alliance that was created. Not by diamonds or royal diamonds, but by some platinums out there who are saying, you know what, it's time for us to rise up. And I love, just as Mike has talked about, that when the big trees get out of the way, there's room for those saplings to grow up and claim their space. And that's what I saw a lot of happening this weekend. I saw a lot of bonding, and I saw a lot of unity. And thank you to all who were there. Mike, I know that you had plans. I know that you had baptisms to be to. I know you had major family events. And folks, what you've got here is a group of people who are dedicated to the success of Nikken in our future. And I love this family. Love it. Thank you, guys.
Hey, William, thanks for coming. Tell us your thoughts and feelings and perspective.
Well, yeah, congratulations, Brody. It was a great event, and it was my pleasure to be there. And I needed it just as much as the audience needed it, and I enjoyed, listening to the presentations more so than ever before, because, sometimes the battery gets a little bit weak, and it got recharged for sure. But it was almost over 60 years ago that a guy named Earl Nightingale on an audio called The Strangest Secret made a quote where he said, the problem with most men today is they simply don't think. And not much has changed 60 years later, except I would replace men with people. Simply don't think. And if you look at history, I don't know if my slides will work here or not. I'll try and go to the share screen. Dave, I don't know if you can say or not, if you can see that or not, but did that come up by chance?
We've got it.
So if you're going to bet on a horse, you got to think, is my position. And so when you look at the Nikken trifecta, it requires thought, and no better lesson in life than history. to find out where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. And this journey started with Isamu Masuda and his philosophy, and it hasn't changed over this trifecta. But this is what I consider Nikken 1.0. Okay, we started in 1975 in Nikken, Asia. We started with no internet. It was direct sales. It was 4 products, maxed out at 4 countries with territorial sales, meaning that you had a zip code. You had a bunch of zip codes that you could call on, or city lines, or county roads, or whatever it was. But dozens of millionaires were created out of that. One of them, Mike and I had the pleasure of meeting Kunio Yoshimura. The guy made $1 million a month before the internet. And millions of satisfied customers, got the ability to create longevity in their life. But it peaked. It peaked just about 10 to 12 years later at $700 million. And that's when Mr. Watanabe decided to come in to Mr. Masuda and say, hey, look, the biggest consumer goods and services in the world is North America. Let's start shifting some of our efforts and, like Mike said, expand overseas. And then 2.0 happened. This is where we just ended, December 31st. We got our momentum started building in 1995. We had the internet come in that time frame. We had a little bit of social media, nothing like going to happen, but we dumped direct sales and the customer base, and we went to the MLM model of people recruiting people that recruit people that recruit people. We expanded to over 40 countries with independent, wellness consultant representatives, and we created hundreds of millionaires. Nothing wrong with that. And the baby boomers also started to, peak into that retirement age, and so tens of millions of satisfied customers now get to enjoy longevity. But you know what? In 2001, we peaked. 2.0 peaked. 700 million. Same thing that happened in the first 20 years of 1.0. And then this guy named Ben Woodward comes on the scene and says, "Hey, it's all good. Everybody calm down. It's just, it's just the normal growth curves of most businesses. The problem is most businesses in this industry don't make it past 1.0. So here we are at the, at the tail end of 2.0 in 2015, and a lot of people panic. Fear comes out, and like I said, the Earl Nightingale quote: "Men simply don't think; they react." And so I chose to just calmly respond to the situation, and that brings us into 3.0, which is starting here in 2016 in the hybrid model, where we have social media, but in the internet, but we've got a different kind of social media, and it changes every single month and every single year. We don't even know what's coming with the potentiality of social media, but now we've gone and we said, let's take our first 20-year message, which was the hybrid model of direct selling and customer base, and let's join it with the MLM. And this model right here is really the future. And by Ben and Kurt's own admission, we've got thousands of wellness technologies to bring out. I mean, truly becoming the Amazon of wellness, the Amazon.com of wellness. But like Mike said, or Rick said, it's 196 countries that becomes our market, not 45 that are closing down, 196 that are expanding. And the baby boomers are now peaking. They're now getting to the point where they don't want the drugs. They don't want the chemicals. They want the good sleep. They want the good air. They want the good nutrition. They want the good hydration. And we're it. We are the Amazon.com of wellness. And, now is a question, boy, if we created hundreds of million or dozens of millionaires in 1.0, and then we went to dozens to hundreds in 2.0, why can't we have thousands of millionaires in 3.0? I mean, everything changes, and it's all predictable. But we can now have billions of satisfied customers experiencing longevity. And I honestly believe that the target is going to be 5 billion. It's a safe number to use, utilizing 196 countries, utilizing the Amazon model of everybody in every corner of the world can be shipped these products. And whenever you combine the MLM hybrid with the direct selling focus on the customer up front, holy cow. I backed this off because I'm a realist. I started out at 7 billion. That's my real forecast. But I thought there'd be too much objection and too much rejection on that. So I've dropped my forecast down to 5 billion. Do I believe that? Yeah, I do. I do. Whenever you're calm and whenever you think And whenever you look at the past and you look at the present, and you look at the future, 5 billion is not that big of a number whenever you take 6 billion people and the planet. You know, I mean, that's a very small percentage, $5 billion over the next 12 years. And when I was showing this to Mike, he said, do we really want to talk about 2036 on maybe, you know, dropping down again? I said, yeah, because it's a fact. History has already shown in 1.0 we're going to drop, in 2.0 we dropped, and 3.0 we're going to drop. But look at where we are today. 2016, that ride up for the next 7 to 12 years to 2026 is going to be unreal. I mean, just mind-boggling types of numbers. But you know what? Rick Murphy's son's going to have to deal with the 2036 issues. And there'll be a fourth 4.0. There'll be another growth curve. I don't know what it looks like. According to Apple's founder, Steve Jobs, we don't even, you know, this iPhone that I'm holding right now, he said is obsolete in the next 10 years. And it is. So this model will be obsolete by 2036, but another one will come. But it's what you do now between 2016 and 2026 with the millions of dollars that's going to be created. I certainly hope that you look at that financial pillar of Nikken and do things differently that maybe you didn't do in the past with your incomes. And then you know what? Rick's son will have just fine. He'll probably be working with Ben Woodward's son. They'll figure out 4.0. It'll be another great curve. So I'll just, excuse me, say, Dave, that, you know, I also had a phone call from somebody. Actually, it wasn't a phone call. It was an email. And it was when I was having dinner with Mike and Rick in Salt Lake on Saturday night. And I had said that, you know, in order to truly live the well-lived life, and to experience a well-lived life, you've got to trust. You got to trust the process. And I remember when Ben came out with all this and all the panic was going all around and the fear was coming up and people were, you know, jolting out of here as fast as you could, you know, say the word giddy up. I kind of had this calmness come over me because I said, you know, what's going to happen is, when we're dealing with this in October, November, and December, most companies are going to be panicking about this in February because they're going to have to announce it in January. But we're going to be calm as a cucumber, and we're already going to be heading right up. Well, it happened. I got an email while I was at dinner with those guys, and it said, hey, William, I don't know if you remember or not. My name is, I'll just say her name's Betty, and I'm with this other company, which happened to also show up in one of those printouts of companies that the FTC is looking to target. And she goes, hey, look, could I ask you for a huge favor? I really would like if I could add you to my customer list. I just need your name and your address and your email address, and I just need to add you as a customer because we're open in Australia, and I know you know Australia, and if I could just get you on my list, it would really help me out, and I really need to hear from you today. And I'm like, there it is. Our calmness of mind through October, November, December, and here we cruise right into this last week of January with and these other companies are going, oh my God, I gotta have 5 customers right now. They're lost, they're spun. And that's where, you know, I predicted it. I knew, and Ben brought it out. I just said, just be calm, trust the process, and look what's happening. So are we in a good place? Yeah, we're in a good place.
Wow, that is so profound. I'm just thinking with this new prices, genuine, really high value prices with incomparable product, and at the same time with a price you can actually make realistically good retail profit. You know, Mike talked about the balance of the 3 different things. Wow, you can really have a well-rounded business. So let's all go forward and make this just a huge leap. Boy, if you ever thought about running with Nikken, now is a good time to run. And so let's be part of the new era. And thank you everyone for being on the call, and let's go share the good word. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Brody. Great event.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for being there.
Great event. It was.
A new beginning.